Today is November 25th, and it's 4:01. Please call the roll.
Chairperson Wani Garza,
Here.
Vice Chair Ted Masiacos,
Present.
Alderman John Lash, Alderman Brandon Tolliver,
Here.
Alderman Daniel Barreiro, 3 present.
Okay. My agenda over here. Okay. Approval the minutes for 24-0887 from November 12th.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Tolliver.
Second.
Second, Alderman Masiacos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion pass. Okay, we have public comments?
No, we do not.
We don't have it? Okay. Okay, so the first item in the agenda is 240878, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter an agreement with Blink Network LLC of Bowie, MD, in the amount of $68,396.25 to finish and install 5 dual-port electric vehicle chargers and the new public work facility, and allow city staff to negotiate the installation of additional Blink electric vehicle chargers at other locations throughout the city to establish a single standardized charging network and revenue collection system.
Sorry I couldn't make that title longer. Sorry about that. Ian Wade with engineering. As described in the memo, in response to an opportunity we learned of with ComEd to provide up to $8,000 per charging port for, to provide $8,000 per charging port for up to 10 ports per location. We decided that we wanted to establish a consistent vendor to provide electric vehicle chargers throughout the city. It had been something that we'd kind of wanted to do overall anyway, but this grant opportunity was kind of a catalyst to get this vendor in place now to allow us to take advantage of this grant opportunity. As described, the current configuration will allow for us to install 5 dual port chargers, which each of those dual ports, as you probably deduced, has 2 charging ports, kind of similar to what we see out here at the intersection of Water and Benton. We have a single dual port charger there. We would have 2 dual port chargers or 4 charging stations up at the front of the building for both the public and for our staff to utilize for charging their personal vehicles, as well as 3 more dual port chargers or 6 charging stations, which will be outside behind our fence, which will be for city electric fleet vehicles. Couple things worth noting. We also do have rough-ins for, I believe, 10 or 12 additional electric vehicle charging stations inside of the fleet storage facility. I think that's intended more for long-term expansion for when technology catches up to allow us to purchase larger vehicles and some of those items that would be stored inside. We will have the infrastructure already in place to add chargers there as time progresses. Also looking forward, looking ahead and trying to plan for the future, as mentioned in the memo, we are running conduit to each of these locations to install a total of 10 at each of these 2 locations. So while we are currently installing 4 and 6, we will have the capacity in place for 10 and 10 at these 2 locations as well. So. As summarized, with the cost of the conduit and panel installation that the building electrician put in, along with the cost proposed here by Blink, this grant should cover about half of the cost of these chargers, so it's a pretty nice opportunity. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have idea they cost that much,
Yeah.
but it look like a good price. In the future, when you're saying to install another ones in the different areas of the city, so the one is, you have idea when you want to do that?
So basically, we
additional-
were just kind of looking to identify a vendor at this point for this project specifically because of this grant opportunity. But rather than just finding a charging product off the shelf and installing it there, we decided to go through this RFQ process and select a vendor the right way that we feel comfortable with going forward on any future subsequent projects. So I don't believe anything specifically else is identified right now. I know there's a few locations that we're investigating and probably will come soon. But the Public Works facility is the only project that we're for sure going forward with under this contract currently.
Okay. So in the charger they want to install, what is the warranty they want to have?
So this does come with a 3-year service and care program. Yeah, so it does look like it's a 3-year warranty on the parts and equipment.
More questions, comments? Yes?
Thanks, Madam Chair. How long is this grant going on for? Is it just this year? Is there like an end time on it?
I don't believe that there's a time frame for when it ends. It's basically until the funds get used up. And it is available per site, so we will be exploring this for other sites as well for both this, and there's actually a handful of other, there's quite a few actually right now, electric vehicle incentive programs that we are looking at for other properties as well, yeah.
And then when it says here that it's 10 ports per location, are they saying like 10 ports at public facility, 10 ports at, whatever the next?
Correct.
Like that,
It would
correct?
be per address, yeah, per location. So yeah, we would have maxed out this particular grant at the new Public Works facility by installing these 10.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I appreciate the proactiveness on this, especially for the potential of having the bigger vehicles if that ever happens. So, I mean, that's definitely a yes vote for me. So with that being said, I motion to approve.
Question?
Can I ask you questions too? Oh, thank you. My curiosity here is positively heightened here with this one. So you went out for RFQ, right?
Correct.
Qualifications. How many companies did you
We
speak
had
to?
3. So it was a bit of a modified RFQ because we had identified a handful of vendors that were part of cooperative purchasing contracts, Sourcewell and Omnia contracts. So we could have just gone right to one of those vendors. However, just to do our due diligence and get an opportunity to vet the products they're offering in terms of revenue generation, software, and things like that, we went ahead and did a semi-informal RFQ anyway and sent it specifically to 3 specific vendors that were on the Sourcewell contracts. And we did get responses from those 3, and then we ranked those 3.
Now, did you look into this product as well and verify that it's not high maintenance?
We
It's got good
did.
performance? How long has it been in the market?
Yeah, we actually had Blink come in and present a handful of their series of products to us. There was a Series 7, Series 8. There might have been one other that we looked at. And we did have both our fleet folks and our finance folks involved to be sure that it was compatible both on the EV charging technical side as well as the software and the ability to generate revenue. So we did vet it.
Okay. And so
Okay.
you vetted it and it came out positive, and obviously because it's here before us, then it's something. that
Yeah,
you're
they actually
comfortable
did propose a few options, and we were able to pick the one that we felt was
Yeah.
best.
with. Okay. Now, the $8,000 rebate per charging port. The port, 10 ports per location, what does that mean?
So that means we'd have the ability to charge 10 vehicles. So each of these dual port chargers is basically 2 ports.
So you're gonna have 5
dual port chargers
dual
installed.
port chargers.
And that'll be
it's
the 10.
$8,000 per dual port charger,
No, per port.
per port, so it'd be $16,000.
Correct. So
Oh,
we'd be looking at $80,000 in total grant monies
Okay.
to be reimbursed for this.
Okay.
Which was why I then also listed, obviously the cost of just the chargers won't quite be that 80, but it'll then eat into a share of the conduit placement and things that we're.
Because that's what I want to get at, number-wise. So that goes into material and labor.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
all
Yep.
right. Not
Yeah.
just the port itself, but it can go into the installation contract.
Yeah, so it would cover about half of that combined cost, and that combined cost also includes added capacity for additional chargers down the way. So in reality, it'll be over half of the actual cost of these 10.
And can you talk to us a little bit about rebates to the city, if any?
In terms of,
Is there anything that we get from it? I mean, is it a charge? It's just I mean, there's a charge, right? So somebody has to pay to utilize this port.
Yeah, that's correct. It has functionality to be set up to either be revenue charging or to be, they had a term for it, when it's just open and usable, which is obviously the ones we'd have behind the fence for our fleet. We would just be able to plug in and go and not have to worry about a credit card swipe or anything like that. But yeah, this series does offer both levels, so we'll be able to customize those at the different locations and charge where we want to. And they have a Blink network that'll be established, and then
Oh, so this is not for public use, only for
no,
city
it'll
use?
be both. It'll be
Okay.
both.
All right, so you have to establish, so what do we anticipate any dollars coming back to the city, if any? What's the projection, if any? So that's the key.
Yeah, in terms of, I don't know, Jolene, did they talk? Did they talk really in terms of the types of revenue, the quantities of revenue that we would anticipate to see coming back?
We anticipate it would be in charge of that, but I don't know kind of after meeting conversations we have.
Yeah.
So where are the exact locations?
For these?
Yes.
So these will be 3 dual port chargers on the north side of the building, on the far west end to the north of the building, and then 4.
Clarify which building?
I'm sorry, this is all at the new Public Works facility.
Okay, all right.
So there'll be 3 dual port chargers at the northwest corner of the building. That'll be 6 total charging ports that'll be available to the public as well as to staff for their private vehicles.
Okay.
And then we'll also have 2 dual ports or 4 chargers behind the fence where we'll be able to charge our fleet vehicles. So the ones out
All
front will have revenue generating.
Okay. All right, so here's my next question. This is where I'm leading to.
Okay.
My thought process. What keeps somebody from coming off the street and parking in the new Public Works building? And are we gonna have it secured so at a certain time it gets closed up and then somebody comes back for their car and it's locked up and they can't get it out, or?
No, so the 3 dual port chargers will be outside of the gates at all
Outside the
times.
gates?
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
okay.
And they would be, there's certain mechanisms that they describe to us to where if a vehicle sits on a charger you can set a maximum amount of time that you want to let them charge, so then they can't just camp out there, although we would be generating revenue. But all that is fine tunable in terms of if we want to cut them off at a certain point or limit the amount of time that they could park there. We would just be notified through the system then if a car was still hooked up beyond a threshold we'd set, or we'll have the ability to customize all that if we want to try to micromanage that.
All right, so we're welcoming the community, anybody
Yes.
or a guest into our city to come and utilize these as well.
Yes.
So do you have at least a rudimentary type of plan that you can share with us and put on the docket for COW? To
So
show
I can
just
talk to.
basic locations, like a dot?
Oh,
You got a
yes.
plan, just put a dot, and these are the
Yes,
anticipated
absolutely.
locations?
Yep.
Just to
We have
give us
that.
a little frame of reference?
Yeah.
Visuals?
Yeah.
Bob O'Connor would love a visual. Old Bob
No problem.
O'Connor, you know,
Absolutely.
God
We'll
bless
get that
him.
added.
All right, thank you so much. I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, motion made by Alderman Tolliver, second Alderman Ted Masiacos. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you.
Zero. Next item is 24-0879, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to utilize Sourcewell and Omnia Cooperative Purchasing contract to purchase equipment for the new public work facility and allow for several additional future equipment purchase.
Hi, again, Ian Wade, Engineering. So this was the equipment purchase that I had mentioned to you all in previous meetings as the largest remaining purchase on the Public Works side from engineering. So basically what we tried to do here is not only identify those purchases that we were looking to make that did exceed the 50,000 threshold that required us to come before you today, but in an effort to be fully transparent, we went ahead and listed all of the anticipated equipment expenses that we see remaining, with there obviously being the small caveat of a handful of other smaller items included in there too, which would, be very small items, smaller than even these 10, the ones that are listed here. So I guess just to speak a little bit, there was the 5 major purchases that we do have already locked in terms of the vendor identified and the Sourcewell or Omnia contracts identified. These did all offer a pretty good discount by going through those contracts. They ranged, I believe, from like 5 to 12% discounts that we saw on these various pieces of equipment. First being a forklift that will be needed, obviously, with a 26-acre parcel receiving quite a bit of material supplies. We will need to have that forklift in place to be able to receive and transport those materials. The one that's currently at Water and Sewer, I'm told, is like 25 years old on its last leg, and will actually still be looking to stay at the existing Water and Sewer place because we will be using that as additional storage. So they haven't gotten rid of that yet over there, but they will hopefully get this new one at the new facility, so that they're excited about that. But the next being the two Toro Workman GTS electric carts. You may have noticed that these weren't just regular golf carts, but they had 6-foot beds on them. The idea there being not just for the guys to move people around, but also with those 6-foot beds to be able to shuttle material around, again, the 25-acre campus. We did 2 of them, just envisioning that with all the divisions out there, there's probably going to be times where one is in use, and we would definitely need at least the 2. So. The next piece of equipment being the Bobcat Toolcat UW56. That's basically going to be for yard maintenance, snow removal being the large item used with that. It'll also be used for moving some material, like some gravel or some materials that needed to be scooped and moved around the yard as well. None of our divisions had one of these previously, and nor had they had a facility that had this much sidewalk. So there's quite a bit of sidewalk and quite a bit of space that'll be needing that toolcat coming up here pretty soon. Next being the Brinex Infinity Brine Maker. The brine maker that the Streets Division currently uses is more than 20 years old, and I'm told it's a very antiquated technology that's quite a bit more labor intensive than the new technologies that this will provide. I'm told they've made welding repairs to it a handful of times, so it's on its last leg, both functionally and performance-wise. So we're excited about being able to ramp up the brine production and decrease the labor-intensive effort that it had been in the past. So we're excited about that one. And then the fifth of the specifically listed items, I'll touch on the others as well, but were a pair of floor cleaners. So basically we had, you may recall, Facilities brought before you about a year ago. They purchased a smaller unit for their existing facility. That will be moved over and be used in the fleet repair area. So that allowed us to not have to purchase a third one for that area. We were able to just move that one over. And then another smaller handheld push-behind scrubber for the administrative areas, the long hallways and all that. The larger piece of that purchase is actually a riding sweeper scrubber, which was something we hadn't had yet. As opposed to just cleaning the floors, that's able to actually sweep up the debris, and that's going to be used for our large fleet storage area where we're parking all the vehicles, thinking they're going to be tracking in quite a bit of mud and debris, and we can't just push it around and scrub it. We actually need a vehicle that's able to actually sweep that up as well as scrub the floors. So those are the 5 that we have specifically identified. We're pretty close on a few of these other purchases. We hadn't found Sourcewell for those, so we did actually put out an informal bid for the kitchen and laundry appliances. We're working our way through that. We're hopeful we can get that going soon, hopefully with a local vendor, but we'll see how that plays out. And then the first one I mentioned, the $10,000 pallet straddle stacker, we actually did have that one ready to go previously, we thought as well too, but then digging a little bit deeper into the specs, we found that it was a little too wide for some of our storage aisles. So we got to make sure that we fine tune that and make sure we get the right one, because we certainly wouldn't want to get it out there and have it not fit. Yeah, and then a few other things, about $25,000 in miscellaneous storage for like flammable liquids and some different specialty storage cages and lockers, workbench, and then that premium cut work table. is something that the sign shop for our streets department is needing pretty badly as well. So that's a summary of basically our equipment purchases we'd be looking for under the FF&E line item that was part of the approved budget for this project. So with that in mind, and I do have the gentleman here if you have any technical questions from streets and water and sewer in terms of the actual day-to-day use of any of this equipment or anything like that.
Comment, questions?
Who makes the important decisions of who gets to use the golf carts and who gets to use the new forklift as opposed to the old reliable forklift?
Yeah, that's going to
makes that
be
a tough one?
Yeah, that'll be arm wrestling mostly, I think. But no, I think that is a reason for wanting to get the two, because we're envisioning the need to be moving people and equipment around.
So is it just going to keep it for parts, or is it just going to be, you're literally going to use both of them at this point?
It sounds like the need for them is pretty consistent on both sides, both water and sewer and streets would be
right.
using it pretty consistently.
All right, thank you much. Motion
Good.
approved.
Okay. Well, look like all the maintenance guy is going to be very happy with all this equipment.
You bet.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Motion made by Ted Misiacos, second Alderman Tolliver. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item is 24-0891, a resolution authorizing the execution of the addendum to Phase 2 Design Engineering Service Contract with HR Green, Inc. to the next not to exceed amount of $256,299.09 and to Francisco Belter Church roadway widening, resurfacing, and intersection improvements.
Hi, Brian Wachowski, Engineering Department. This is an amendment to our existing Phase 2 design contract with HR Green for the Farnsworth Belter Church improvements. This project was expanded and required a lot of coordination over the last year. HR Green has done an exemplary job, and they are done with all the design phase aspect, except for modifying the plans as needed for the truncated project that we have explained in previous dates. So that work will be continuing, as well as continuing work for acquiring right-of-way to complete all of the work that was designed as a part of this. So again, just to explain, this was a Phase 2 design project. They designed all of it. It's all permitted with the city. It has been coordination extensively with utility relocations and property acquisition. Due to budgetary constraints, we are going to truncate the limits of the project that's being done or that's going to start shortly. But we are going to continue with acquiring the right-of-way and utility relocations for the entire length of all of the design project, so that when we work towards getting federal funds to complete the construction of the project in the future, it will be ready to go. And so this is in addition to complete that design, complete the utility coordination, and to move forward into the construction phase and complete the coordination between the construction phase and the design team.
Questions, comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion approved by Alderman Tolliver, second Alderman Ted Misiacos. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion pass. Okay. Next item is 24-0896, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to sign memorandum of understanding for placement of school crossing guard shelters with City Road.
Good afternoon, Jason Bauer, Department of Public Works. So this item, we've gotten a number of requests recently for people, for school districts that are looking to install those little guard shelters when it's cold out or when it's raining, so that they have somewhere to, where they're not out in the elements. But we don't really have a formal approval process for these. So we worked with legal and outside counsel to come up with this agreement. Basically, it's going to allow for engineering, APD, and if necessary, building and permits to review those applications, make sure it's in a suitable location, and then just go ahead with the, somewhat informal permit process. So no lengthy, drawn out making them, jump through a lot of hoops. Basically, they submit it, we review it, and if it's all good, then we would just sign the MOU. They've just got to make sure that they provide the insurance and the indemnification. All that's covered in the MOU itself. So we would just, I attached one on here that for 2 of them that are in process, just kind of the model that we've worked up. And as we move forward and we get additional requests, we'll be able to respond more quickly to the school districts and keep them moving forward.
So what they working right now is just the permit, right?
Yes, yeah.
Just the permit.
Yep.
Okay. So who wanted to pay for the
Oh,
shelters?
they're paying
They
for
want to
it.
pay the
Yeah.
129 district?
Yeah, 129 would be installing everything in these 2 locations. They've actually already approached us about a 3rd location, and we'll review that one too, again, with APD and our traffic engineer, and make sure that we agree with the location, and again, have them sign off on the actual MOU, so that if there's ever an issue with it or anything like that, that it's clear that it's on them to do any repairs or any maintenance and things of that nature.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. Right now, this is the first of its kind, this type of an agreement? with
This
the-
is the first of its kind, yeah. There's a lot of these that are already out. I mean, they're located throughout the city, but when they approached us for these, we're like, we probably should have an actual agreement with those districts to go over at least the new placements to make sure that all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed.
So, safe to think that this could be the same template when another school district comes to the
Correct.
city?
Right.
Okay, but there's no guarantee that the school district's gonna agree to it?
Yeah, I guess if when they come forward, if there's things that they don't like about that, we would just confer with legal to see if it's something that can just be, a slight modification that's still within the intent of the MOU, based on whatever would need to change. So we would defer to legal to see if we have to come back to council for those. But the thought being, getting the MOU process approved with this existing agreement, then we don't have to come to council every time to get permission to sign off on one of these.
Okay, so there's a potentiality an alderman's gonna have a couple of school districts overlapping
Correct.
their ward, and they're not sure, they might not know which agreement applies or non-agreement applies.
Yeah, well, they would all be
Depending on the school
probably,
district.
yeah, loosely based on this agreement. Again, if one of the specific districts wanted something to change, we would just defer to legal to see, how much we can change it without coming back for, if 131 wants something completely different, then, we would just come back and approve one for them too.
It just sounds like it's a lot of work for you.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
here.
Okay, all right, okay.
Comment. So for the ones that are already existing, because I'm thinking of one particularly in my ward, on the corner of Farnsworth and Fifth, so actually where Ward 7 and Ward 3 meet. I'm assuming it's the school's, I guess, their proximity to maintain these. I know it isn't this one, but for the ones that are already existing, they're supposed to be maintaining those, correct?
Yeah, we don't maintain any of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this may be more of a question for legal, but do we know if the indemnification regulations are the same for the already existing ones as they are for this?
I don't know how any of those were put in. I don't think any have gone in since I've been here. This is the first time anyone's asked,
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
think
not exactly
that
sure.
one, Alderman Tolliver, that's in Township.
Is that a township right in that
It's
corner?
Township right there in that corner in Fifth.
Where the church
and-
is?
Yes,
Okay.
right. That's the other question, I mean, then what, there's a lot of, but I don't know if there's a way to bring everything under one umbrella.
Just moving forward, we'll just continue
Keep it consistent.
getting the MOUs for the ones that are there, and,
Yeah, probably they have a contract before or in the past. There's one in the Rollins School in Ohio.
Mhm.
And yeah, I remember when they asking if they want to put it like a heater on the shelter. When I asked the questions, they say the school had to provide that if they want.
Yeah, and that's where we would, if somebody wanted to go to that extent and bring in electric and put a heater or anything like that, that's when we would involve building and permits. From the engineering standpoint, we'll just make sure that, the police are happy with it, that we're not putting it in someone's front yard, and, that it's not interfering with traffic sight lines and things like that, so.
Motion to approve?
Okay,
Second,
motion approved by Alderman Tolliver. Second, Alderman Telmesiacos. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Okay, motion pass. Okay, the next item is 24-0911, a resolution authorizing Director of Purchasing to execute a change order increasing the contract with the R.C. Wegman for the River Edge Park Phase 2 expansion to $23,524 and $379.
Good afternoon, Jason Bauer again. So we were here in October for the first portion of, the first bid package for the River Edge Park expansion, which was basically just the foundation and utility work for the backstage building. That was establishing the Wegman contract and all their subs necessary to do all of those work items. And that was about $4 million, and at the time, they were working on the remainder of the bid package for going vertical with that building, and then the 3 other new facilities that'll be out in the park, including the beverage pavilion, the restroom facility, and the new south gate. So those items, they just opened bids on at the end of October, and that's what this would be this award is for moving forward with all those. Chris Kindle Market is supposed to be done in early to mid-January, and then if weather holds well for us, we're hoping that we can get started with a lot of the underground work in those locations too, so a lot of that's going to be weather dependent. The goal would be to have all of this work done and at least have the site work completed and the buildings enclosed and siding on and have a safe site before Chris Kindle opens again in 2025. So it's a lot of work to get done in a short amount of time, and we're hoping that we get good weather because, we're already going to look to truncate the activities at the park this year, so we don't want that to run over into 2 years. And we're happy with the way the bids turned out. It's in the budget for 2025, and it came in a little bit higher than what we had budgeted. So we're just going to keep an eye on those dollars to see if we need to come back and do a transfer or an amendment. There is some contingency built in here. So as the project progresses, we'll give status updates. We are going to have to come back with a few other items. Ian was just here with the FF&E purchase for Public Works. We'll have something similar, probably not golf carts and forklifts, things like that, but tables and office equipment, things like that. So that would be coming. And then as a part of this, we are going to, at some point, we're going to start working on 2 new Jumbotrons that would get purchased for the south end of the park. So we'll be coming back for that. And then there will be some other miscellaneous ones. We've got the fiber one coming up here as the next item, but then we'll have cameras and security and access and things like that. So as we're coming back for those items, we can give updates on the budget and talk about whether we're going to do a transfer or if an amendment would be needed. But it's so far down the road, and a lot of the contingencies are wrapped up with, we've got healthy contingencies in there for weather conditions and if we need to expedite any phase of construction. So as we move forward, we'll have a better idea on that. So with any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. And
Questions, comments?
Madam Chair, I have a question,
Yes.
because I do, when it comes to stuff like this. Where are we right now in terms of construction documents or document preparation?
Well,
How does this estimate fall into place? Where are we that this estimate got updated?
Not sure I follow in terms of.
Usually when you do a project, you have an architect, right? The architect's working on something that caused the construction manager to provide an updated.
This is, I'm sorry. This is because we own, the first thing that we came to you guys with was we wanted to get the backstage building moving earlier than everything else. So the architect actually accelerated that and we had a bid package just for that work. That one had a much longer lead time. That one had like a 12 to 14 month construction timeline, whereas these facilities are a little bit less. They're in like the 9 to 10 month range. So we wanted to accelerate the backstage. So we went out to bid. I think earlier I said October, but I think we went to bid for that in September, and we brought that forward to this committee and then to full city council and awarded just that portion. So just to get that moving and get it going so that we can hopefully have everything finished on the same general timeline.
So this is just for the backstage?
No, this is for everything else. So we already
Okay,
awarded
all
backstage.
right.
This is the big
Okay.
package.
All
Yes.
right, the rest of the package.
Correct.
And
yes.
where is that right now, in drawing stage?
That's done and bid out. Yeah, this is for R.C. Wegman. So Ratio was the
Okay.
architect. That's
So
that's
all
done.
drawings are finished for all
Correct.
4 pieces?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there something that's is there drawings that we can possibly see to see
Yeah,
what they look
I
like?
attached some to the Legistar item.
They're.
A lot of the
they-
renderings.
They are renderings, meaning more.
Oh, like the floor plans and things?
Or just elevations.
Yeah, I can attach some
Yeah.
more drawings.
Yeah, the rendering looks great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alderman Bob O'Connor would have loved them too.
I was going for the impressive pictures, but yeah, we can,
Yeah,
we
you
can
know,
attach
I
some
was
of the
just-
other.
You
some
know
of the
what,
footprints.
maybe off mic, yeah, no problem. It's not a big deal. I'm
Sure.
just, just to see what they're working on. Because
Yeah.
sometimes there's more detail in an elevation than there is in a rendering.
Yeah,
as
I can
well.
attach more.
Some people read them and they get really excited about it. It gets, but, no, I don't have any other major issue. My question though is, in terms of acceleration, what's the anticipated, since you brought it up, what's anticipated timeframe to completing the new backstage building at this point?
And again, that's why we got that one started earlier. That one had like a 12 to 14-month lead time, so we wanted everything to be as buttoned up as possible for the next Kindle market, which, if weather holds out and we don't have a completely, if we're not buried in 3-4 foot of snow by
December 25 then.
Yeah, well, ideally, we're done before that because the load-in
November
at Kindle.
25.
Yeah, because the load-in, they actually start, so Kindle opens in, right around Thanksgiving or the week before, but they're working much earlier than that. They start load-in and all of that in early October, so.
Is there a concern that it's being rushed too fast?
No,
And now
no.
we're not gonna, make sure everything gets done right the first time?
Oh, yeah, and that's why we've got Wegman involved. They're on site all day, every day, and making sure things are done correctly. And we've got the building inspectors that are there doing all the standard inspections. Just because it's a city building, there's no difference. They have to do every inspection that a private developer would do.
Okay.
We have the exact same inspections here, so.
Yeah, because when things are in a tight time frame, sometimes when it's rushed with the contractors out in the field, there's always a concern, at least from my end,
Sure.
to rush something and
Yeah, not too concerned about it. Again,
measure
Wegman put a lot of.
twice, cut once kind
Yeah,
of
right.
mentality, right?
Wegman put a lot of time and effort into developing the timelines for the construction, and we didn't hear, outside of hoping we don't lose, 2, 3, 4 months at the beginning of the year. We're confident that, again, at a minimum, we can have the park usable again for Kindle. They might be finishing drywall inside a building or something like that, but that's not as critical as, making sure that the site is usable and that we've got all the electrical improvements. There's significant upgrades to the site electric and the next item, the site fiber. All those things will be going and have all that completed and make sure that the park can be used again for Kindle.
All right, thank you so much.
Mhm.
And the new restroom building, so how many restrooms gonna put it in there, in the building?
Yeah, so when you walk into the building, there'll be an area that's got some family-style restrooms, like, 4 to 6, something like that, and then 2 massive wings that have, 15, 20 facilities each, one side for men, one side for women, so it's a lot. We spent a lot of time going through this and seeing, how many rental units we had, so that the idea is hopefully between this one and the existing restroom facility, that we won't have to have porta potties anymore. That's the end goal, and that was based on the anticipated maximum number of patrons and things like that.
You wanna put something for change the little kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be in those family restrooms right in the central area, right when you walk in.
Oh, okay. Yes? Questions?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Tolliver,
Second.
second Alderman Mesiacos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you. Okay, next item, 24-0917, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to execute a contract with National Technologies, Inc. in the amount of $800,000 to reroute fiber at River Edge Park.
Me to get started and then lean on you, or you want?
I'll go ahead. I'll get Jason. That's
All
fine.
right.
That's fine. Yeah. Chairman Garza, Jeff Anderson, Deputy CIO. Thank you, John, for putting up the rendering. I think I got that term right. Thank you, Alderman Siakos, for that. Vice Chair for that. I'm doing this as a rendering and not a drawing. I'll try and use the right terms here. So What we're doing here is adding to the existing fiber backbone, building it out more, and stretching it from the far north end where the backstage building is to the far south end where the new gate is, and connecting all the locations in between. So, which includes the new beverage pavilion, the new restroom you just spoke about, and I believe there's 3 jumbotrons on that south end as well. There's one on the back of the beverage pavilion that's a little hidden because it's in blue there, but there's 2 you can see out on the lawn. So, really, adding to the structure we have in the park to be able to support all the digital that's needed there, as well as new surveillance cameras will go down the south end at some point when we'll bring those back, like was explained earlier, and as well as supporting the gate, the technology needed at the south gate as well to allow people to come in.
So this fiber gonna go under,
It'll all be under,
Yeah.
yes. And I
so they
believe
mean, whatever it is already, so they wanna dig in there?
correct. It'll be trenching under. It's not like they're gonna dig it all up. There'll be more of what you'll see there is the actual construction going on. But I've got some more, Mike Baker's here if we have some really technical questions. I believe part of the issue that's going on here is the new beverage pavilion will sit on top of some of the major connection points. So we have to rework those so that we can get further south.
Okay. Questions, comments?
No question, but just comment-wise, I mean, it seems kind of like a no-brainer. I mean, we got to make sure this stuff works. We've spent all this money on it, and it's, people will go there and expect a good show. So, seems pretty self-explanatory to me. Motion to approve.
Okay,
Madam Chair, question.
yes.
Where are we now? This fiber, who's gonna own it?
It'll
Or
be
I should
city,
say,
it'll be
who's
city's
gonna
fiber.
maintain it?
So the city maintains the core part of the city fiber network. We have our partner in Scientel that helps us manage kind of the endpoints, the switches around that. The city's responsible.
Where
for maintaining
does OnLight figure in on this at all, if at all?
So I don't believe OnLight will have a play in this one. This is city property, right? So
Okay.
OnLight is extending beyond city locations to our
Okay.
partners.
So this has
Yeah.
nothing to do with them?
No.
Yeah,
No.
okay. Okay. All right.
So this will just be an extension like the city network, how we manage connections at the new Public Works building, how we
Sure,
manage them
sure,
up at,
sure,
up at the
sure,
police
sure.
department, et cetera. This is the city facility.
Sure,
We manage it the same way.
okay,
Okay.
all right. Second.
Motion made and ready by Alderman Tolliver. You second? Okay. Alderman Telmesiaco second. All in favor say aye. Okay, motion pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So no other item.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned by Telmesiacos. Second Alderman Tolliver. All in favor say aye. Okay. We adjourned the meeting at 4:44. Thank you very much.